Okay, so picture this, a skyscraper. But instead of soaring up into the clouds, it plunges 65 stories straight down into the Earth. It's called an Earthscraper, and it's a pretty wild idea that might just be the answer to one of our planet's biggest problems. We're going to dive deep on this one, because this idea could literally reshape our cities from the ground down. And it all starts with this number, because it's the reason concepts like Earthscrapers even exist. According to the UN, a mind-blowing 2.8 billion people, that's 40% of the entire world population, are either homeless or living in housing that's just not safe. So we're not talking about a crisis anymore. A lot of reports are calling it what it actually is, a global housing emergency. Our cities are completely maxed out, and honestly, the problem is just getting worse. And this table really just gives you a snapshot of how bad things are. Take Paris. They have super strict limits on how high you can build, so the city is incredibly dense. In Mumbai, there's just no space, and all the jobs are in one place, which means even the top earners would need more than a century to save up for a home. And Tokyo, it's so crowded, they literally hire professional pushers just to shove people into subway cars. It's insane. So, when you've got no more land and you can't build up or out, you have to start asking some pretty radical questions. And this was the exact thought that hit architect Esteban Suarez when he was looking at this very problem in Mexico City. And his answer, well, it opens up a whole new world for how we think about cities. It's a solution that isn't about finding new land, but about completely reimagining the ground right under our feet. Okay, so let's get this straight. What exactly is an Earthscraper? Just think of a skyscraper, flip it upside down, and bury it. That's pretty much it. It's a massive, multi-story building that you construct downwards, creating all this new livable space without touching the city's skyline. Now, the first really big proposal for one of these is just wow. A firm called BNKR Architectura came up with this plan for a 65-floor, 300-meter-deep, inverted pyramid right under Mexico City's historic Zócalo square. The absolute genius of it is this huge empty space in the middle, a light well designed to funnel natural sunlight all the way to the bottom. And the top? Just a transparent glass floor so the square could still be used for public events. It's an incredible idea. It sounds like something straight out of a sci-fi movie, right? I mean, can we actually build a mega structure like that, 300 meters steep, in the middle of a massive, crowded city? It's a totally fair question, but you might be surprised by the answer. See, to answer that question, we've got to look back in time, because it turns out we humans have been living and building underground for a long, long time. This isn't some brand new idea. It's an ancient one that we're just rediscovering. Just look at this timeline. Over 3,000 years ago, people were building these super complex underground cities in what is now Turkey. Then you jump to the 1960s, and Helsinki starts building out its huge subterranean network. By the 90s, Japan is building colossal projects under Tokyo. The Earthscraper really is just the next logical step in this very long story. And this comparison is just incredible. The ancient city of Derinkuyu, it went down 18 floors, housed 20,000 people, and used these clever ventilation shafts for air. Fast forward to today, and Helsinki has a whole parallel city 15 floors deep, with roads, data centers, even swimming pools. It can shelter 1.5 times the city's entire population. So yeah, the concept is proven. And if you need any more proof about what we can do today, just look at Tokyo's GCANS project. It's a 6.3-kilometer-long underground canal system built 50 meters deep to stop flooding. This thing is an engineering marvel, with reservoirs the size of 2 football fields. It shows we can absolutely build gigantic, complex, and functional things deep in the earth. All right, so we know it's possible in theory, but how in the world would you actually build an Earthscraper? Let's geek out a little on the mechanics, because it's pretty fascinating. The key thing to get here is you don't just dig a massive hole. It's a really clever top-down construction method. First, you build these incredibly thick, angled walls around the edge to hold back all the pressure from the earth and water. Then, you drill deep support columns way down into the bedrock to make the skeleton. Only then do you start outing the floors from the top floor down, which locks everything into place as you go. Then, you add all the fun stuff, like elevators and lobbies. So what about the big, scary things? Earthquakes? Turns out an Earthscraper is kind of safer because it moves with the ground. Plus, modern damping systems can soak up any shocks. Flooding? We have super powerful pumps, just like the ones in Tokyo. And light? We can use bundles of optical fibers to pipe natural sunlight all the way down from the surface. The tech to solve all these problems, it already exists. And that brings us to the real puzzle here. If we've got ancient history, modern examples, and all the engineering know-how to make it safe, why is Zócalo Square in Mexico City still just a regular old square? Why aren't we building this thing?
Well, the answer shows us something really important. The biggest roadblocks to new ideas are rarely about technology. They're almost always about people.
This slide really breaks it down perfectly. It's like you're fighting on two different fronts. On one side, the technology questions, they're pretty much solved. The engineering works, construction is possible, safety is manageable. But on the other side, you've got these huge human hurdles. The political risk is off the charts, the financial return is a giant question mark, and we just don't know if people would even be okay with it.
And these are not small problems. A government would be taking a massive political risk, messing with a historic, beloved site, not to mention the fear of damaging priceless Aztec artifacts underneath. For investors, the $800 million price tag could easily turn into billions. But maybe the biggest question of all is, would anyone actually want to live down there? There's a huge psychological hurdle, a basic human need for sunlight and open space. That uncertainty is the project's real enemy. But, this kind of resistance to game-changing ideas is nothing new. Back in 1977, the president of a big computer company actually said this: the telephone, the airplane, even skyscrapers, they were all met with the same kind of doubt. Big ideas always seem impossible right before they become completely essential. So, at the end of the day, the biggest hole we need to dig isn't in the ground. It's through our own preconceptions. The real challenge is about shifting our perspective on what a city can even be.
And if you want to see this mindset in action, just look at Finland. They could have seen their super hard bedrock as a problem, something that makes construction difficult. Instead, they saw it as a massive advantage, a stable, secure foundation to build an entire second city underground. They solved their problems and created a totally unique urban asset.
And that really leaves us with this final thought. True innovation isn't just about cool new tech. It's about a new way of seeing things. It's about looking at your biggest problems, your biggest limitations, and finding the hidden opportunity inside them. So the real question isn't whether we can build an Earthscraper. It's whether we have the vision to see why we might need to.